Okay, here we go. Here we go. Welcome to an all new episode of So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. This is your pal Ryan. This is your Tuesday episode. Let me explain to you, if you are watching on the old YouTube, if you're not listening to this in the podcast format, it looks so weird. That's right, folks. I'm here at Dorit's room at Buca de Beppo. No, I'm actually in a very tiny room at my parents' house, and I don't have a proper workstation or any of my real like kind of lighting equipment. So basically I look like, so this is just, you guys, I'm not actually in Dorit's room at Buca de Beppo. I wish I was. What a magical place. But this is better to look at than the scary background that I have in this room. It's like, it's all decorated by Marshalls, which, by the way, I'm a huge Marshalls fan. Love Marshalls. I'm a Maxinista. You know the drill. Anyways, today, you guys, Southern Charm recap. We have Becky Bailey, my mom, joining us for a very lively and spirited discussion where I on the Monday recap, or the pop culture roundup with Sophie, I said I got to tell my mom about this Kris Jenner Ray J thing, and today is the day where I do that. Now, it to varying results, but it was wild. I ran errands and I did chores for my mom all day. You guys, I told you yesterday, I dug up all of my mom's. Listen, I was barely listening, but I think the rabbits are getting to my mom's, like, she has this like vegetable garden or like herb garden. So I had to like literally dig up these things from the root, and she was just like there, just kind of cheering me on and then kind of telling me like what I was doing wrong. And you guys, I'm used to podcasting manual labor, not actual manual labor. And then we like to hit up our stores, which is like the Walmart. We like to go to Costco. And then I took my mom on an adventure to find 818 tequila, not to buy, mind you, just so I could do a silly Instagram video where my mom called Kendall Jenner her personal close friend, just like Lisa Rinna did. That's how sad my life has gotten, folks, is that I literally, and we couldn't find that 818. We had to go to 3 stores. My mom is literally recovering from surgery. But I will say, I gave her the choice. We did not have to go to the second or the third store, but that's how good of a mom she is. She's like, no, I want to watch you embarrass yourself through me. That is true. That is true parenting, folks. So we got a couple of news stories before we get to mom. And then remember, that's where the timestamps. If you want to skip right to her, you can do that. We're going to talk a little bit about the Emmys and Nicki Minaj. We might throw in a Britney Spears thing, but I don't want to get too negative. And then we'll take a commercial break and we'll go into the Southern Charm recap. Ooh, and I got some dirt on Shep's Raya, because this week's Southern Charm episode, they talked all about Shep's Raya profile at the end. And you know, how sad is it of me that I said this, I find Craig Conover a very entertaining drunk. Like, I know it's not healthy, and I know I shouldn't encourage that kind of behavior, but at the same time, the guy, I mean, it's like he's like the Tom Brady of drunks. You're just like, holy shit. Which, by the way, I forgot to mention that story yesterday, just because I'm not like a sports dude. Is Tom Brady and Gisele Bündchen. Tom Brady he's playing a new season with the Buccaneers, and he pissed off his wife and his family because I guess this guy retired last year, you guys. And then he was like 2 or 3 months into retirement, and he must have like hated hanging out with his family. And he was like, no, I'm good. I'd rather go try to get CTE and get hit in the head. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you're at that age, even though he's probably, I don't know what he's called, the best or whatever, but you're risking another season of just getting hit, like pounded professionally. And I'm not talking about Ray J and Kim Kardashian. I'm talking about on the field, 300-pound dudes just knocking your ass out. He went back to that, and supposedly Gisele Bündchen was like, no, I do not like that. And so there's been all this rumor about like divorce, and I guess he missed training camp. And this is the part where Ryan gets fascinated with it, where I'm like, wait a second, now you've intrigued me, sports. What is this? And by the way, Gisele Bündchen, of course, you know, there's ties to DiCaprio in there. You guys forget, some of you youngsters forget that Gisele Bündchen and DiCaprio were a thing. Also, we had a internet item today that Leo DiCaprio and the Hadid girl, the one that was with Zayn, was it Gigi? or Bella. Is it bad that I don't? They're the Hadid girls to me, but supposedly I get all of these kind of like internet updates of what's going on, where, just important things. A lot of people get news alerts. I get like TMZ alerts. So this is amazing. Leonardo DiCaprio might not be single for long. The Oscar winner, 47, and supermodel Gigi Hadid, 27, have been hanging out in New York City. Multiple sources tell People. Now, when you use the word People, that means People magazine, folks. And that already, so you're already past Daily Mail. You're like, holy shit, People magazine. That's like the Washington Post for like celeb gossip. The quote is, they are getting to know each other, one insider shares, adding that the pair aren't dating just yet. Quote, Leo is definitely pursuing Gigi, another source tells People. A third source adds, quote, they've been seen hanging out with groups of people. It's only been a few weeks since the split. Since then, he's been hanging out with friends and family. First off, the fact that there are 3 sources on this, like so the People magazine author was like, we need multiple sources before we could go to press with this. Like, this was a big deal. 3 sources? Also, what's the rush, Leo? Why are we is it because you're getting closer to death? You're 47. I mean, like, what is the rush? And you know what? I hate that I thought this, that I was like, Gigi Hadid, 27. And I was like, look at him dating an older lady, Like, for Leo, that's old. Like, Camila, is that the last girl? She was 25 when he dumped her a couple weeks ago. 27. Like, I'm like, what's it like to date a mature lady, Leo? That's good for you. That's what we call personal growth. But I just, this rumor, or the sources, it doesn't make sense. Like, why? You know what I'm saying? Like, why? What's the pull with these people, right? Gigi Hadid, beautiful, but we're used to her beauty. Do you ever feel like that with the Kardashians, where you get worn out by telling them that they look good? You get worn out finding new ways to make themselves look good. To me, there's I feel like the human brain is only supposed to see certain people only a certain amount. And we've been force fed the Kardashians billions of times. So for me, I don't even recognize, like, their beauty on a soul, like, like on that kind of primal level of like, damn, that's gorgeous. One time, you guys, I saw Sofia Vergara. Like, I'm buddies with Joe Manganiello, the actor, and I was over at his like 4 years ago, and I was over at his like mansion, which is like just weird as it is, and I was interviewing him for something, and we were down in his like man cave area, but it was like the classiest man cave. It was just like dark wood everywhere. He had like his own workout room, and Sofia Vergara from Modern Family, they're married. Like, I'm like, I like Modern Family. I know she's a beautiful woman, but I've never been. I'm like, yeah, beautiful woman. She came in, you guys, and delivered fresh beignets. Sofia Vergara, mid hangout with Joe, came in and was like, hello, I'm delivering fresh beignets. And the beignets were amazing. They were fresh, hot beignets. But on top of that, I was like, holy shit, you're gorgeous. And Joe was like, why did you just say that out loud? No, I didn't say that out loud, but I was truly thrown. I was like, oh my God, you're way more beautiful than you are on screen. It really threw me for a loop. So I was like, maybe Gigi Hadid is like that, because I see her now and I'm just maybe used to seeing her. Maybe if you see her in person, it's like, but also, Leo, why the rush? Why not just, why not? Why are we doing this? We're getting close to Christmas. Do you really want to like have to buy somebody new a big Christmas gift or a holiday gift? I don't know. These are the things I think about. Anyways, I don't know about Tom Brady and Giselle. I supposedly he played the game. She wasn't there, but she started posting like congrats on social media. So I think they're good. Isn't it funny when celebrities do the same bullshit that we do in relationships? They play the same stupid social media games that we do. Ugh. Okay, anyways, that's that on that. Let's move on to what I like to call, or we all like to call, the Emmys. The Emmys were tonight. And listen, there were not a lot of surprises. I watched them with my mom, and I wish we should have done a live feed of just watching with my mom because it was truly a unique experience. She commented on everything, like everything, everyone. And the great thing about my mom's commenting, doesn't know any of the shows, like didn't know White Lotus, hasn't seen Only Murders, didn't know Abbott Elementary, didn't know Dope Sick, didn't know The Dropout. So this must have just been an like of top to bottom. She was like, never seen Succession. I mean, truly amazing to watch it with this woman because she still had rock solid opinions. You know me, I can be kind of wishy-washy on things. This woman, I mean, she was telling me if these people could act or not. She did not understand Jennifer Coolidge was a comedian. She was like, why is she doing this with this little dancing around the stage once she won? And I'm like, trying to explain to her who Jennifer Coolidge is, which is just great. But then you realize I'm obsessed with this stuff. We're obsessed with this stuff. My mom, not obsessed with this stuff, but she sure had a damn opinion. So here's the deal. We had some really cool wins. Julia Gardner for the last season of Ozark, sure. Brett Goldstein, of course, won from Ted Lasso. Ted Lasso, great show, amazing show, but they did so well the first season with Emmys that I was kind of hoping that maybe they would give someone else a shot. Nothing against Ted Lasso. Jason Sudeikis won again as well. I just thought I would have loved to have seen an Only Murders in the Building win of some sort. Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez make me so happy. The show is like quirky and weird and a little corny, kind of like me, but I love it so much. And I love the three of their chemistry. And I don't want to it would be so easy to underestimate Selena Gomez because you have two heavy hitter comedians like Steve Martin and Martin Short, but Selena Gomez really does hold her own in this really unique way. She really kind of grows on you. And I can't as an actor, I always try to pull apart a performance, and she's so subtle and so acerbic and very dry, and there's a lot more going on there than I once gave her credit for. But they did this bit, which I'm going to play for you in a second, because it just made me laugh because they came on and presented, and they just make me laugh. And it might be, it's not the smartest humor in the world, but it's just joyful. You know, the kind of shit that's just fun, especially after we watch a show like Beverly Hills, which can be so toxic. It's so nice to watch three people just bouncing off each other doing stupid comedy, but I mean stupid in the highest form of respect that you could. I was personally Succession won Best Drama. I was personally bummed out that we didn't get any wins for Severance from Apple TV or any wins for the first season of Yellow Jackets on Showtime. Those are shows I both highly recommend. And those are also the shows, you guys, that I feel need wins. Like they don't need them in the fact that we're not going to personally love them anymore. We still love them. But the thing is, and especially in this day of streaming services, which I'm so fixated on right now, I'm reading this great book about the HBO and where it's been and where it's going. But it would have been great for one of those shows to win just to bring it to a bigger audience. Like I'm obsessed with Yellow Jackets. You probably are too. The same thing with Severance, but I want more people to know about it. I want this to be a big show. I want this to keep going. I want to fight for the things that I truly love. So I was kind of bummed they were nominated. Gene Smart won for Hacks. Zendaya won again for Euphoria. Amazing. I mean, that truly is. I mean, at her age, these people, man, it may it just, you're like, holy shit, what have I done with my life? I mean, this girl is so young. She's the first Black woman to win the Emmy for lead actress in a drama series twice, and the youngest two-time winner of any Emmy in history. So literally she could retire tonight and have done more and made more of an impact than most of us. Like I literally am going to have to work until the day I die to even, I mean, just the relevancy here. Oh my God. Congratulations goes out to Zendaya. That was huge. Abbott Elementary came up big. Cheryl Lee Ralph, beautiful speech. Quinta Brunson. The only thing that was weird, Jimmy Kimmel laid down on stage during Quinta Brunson's speech. Sometimes comedians, myself included, we just do stupid things that in the moment we think they're going to work these bits, and they might work for a second and then they just painfully don't. But that's kind of what a comedian is. it's that person in class that didn't know the right time to shut up. As you grow, you learn timing, but you never perfect it. I would say maybe Steve Martin and Martin Short have perfected it, but Jimmy Kimmel probably has not perfected it yet. And so weird moments like that we saw tonight happen. Lizzo won in the reality competition category for her Big Girl show on Amazon Prime, which I haven't seen, but it must be excellent. It won. I hate that Housewives and Bravo, except for like usually like Below Deck or Top Chef, get completely ignored. So much so that I wish they would like create specific categories. Like I don't want MTV TV awards to like give out kudos to reality series. I want the Emmys to, because the fandom is just as strong and the work behind the scenes is just as strong as some of these amazing shows. But I have to say, just what a year for TV. Also, Elizabeth Seyfried, if I'm saying that right, she won for The Dropout. Elizabeth, oh, I was about to do I'm Elizabeth Holmes from Theranos, and I won. This is one gigantic step forward. She won, and she was great. I mean, I was saying tonight on Instagram, I was like, do you think one day, you guys, that one of these Bravo stars, I use the word star very loosely, like Erica Jane or Jen Shaw, one day in like 10 years from now, Hulu or HBO Max will do a prestige series where they'll cast somebody as like Jen Shaw? Because these con artists, they usually end up failing in real life, but then they end up succeeding at the Emmys. Like, we love to watch TV shows about them. Could we get a Tom Girardi, Erica Jane miniseries? I think we could. If we can get like 10 years away from it, I think it would be a mistake to do it next year, unless you do it in a Lifetime movie format. But I'm saying, let's bring prestige TV to Bravo. I think we got the juice, baby. You know what I'm saying? Oh, also, I bring this up just because I've been obsessed with that movie Elvis since I watched it on HBO Max a couple weeks ago. Sofia Coppola, one of my favorite directors. Also, you gotta like, dude, we were talking about this in terms of Olivia Wilde, Don't Worry, Darling, which still, it comes out in like 2 weeks. I don't know why they didn't release it last week. Sofia Coppola is an amazing female director on top of just being an amazing director. Virgin Suicides, Lost in Translation will always mean so much to me because I'm a sad bastard white man, kind of like Bill Murray. Like, I remember seeing that in the movie theater and I was like nowhere near his age, and I related to that so hard. And I'm like, it is so funny, these things that speak to us. And I'm like, oh, his low grade depression through that whole movie, and that Bill Murray, I hate to do this, you can tell Shep loves Bill Murray. You can tell Shep is that boy that just never wants to like settle down, or when he does settle down, it's almost a disappointment to himself because he wants to be out there having adventures. He wants to be out there meeting new people. Like, I don't know, that movie Lost in Translation, I really loved that at the time. But anyway, she is going to direct for A24, one of my favorite film outlets right now. Is called Priscilla, and it's going to be Priscilla Presley's story. And I think this is really intriguing because in the Elvis movie, Baz Luhrmann, we barely got any of that story with Priscilla. Like, I can't even tell you the actor that played Priscilla Presley. She was very little used. Like, that story wasn't there. It was really the story of Elvis and Colonel Tom Parker in that movie, which was weirdly played by Tom Hanks. Anybody see Tom Hanks in Pinocchio yet? I'm scared to watch it after his performance in Elvis. Like, I love Tom Hanks so much that I'm legitimately scared, because I do not want to dislike Tom Hanks. And the Elvis movie, I was having weird feelings, and I was like, this is a foreign feeling, Ryan. And it's like, yeah, you're not liking Tom Hanks's performance. So this girl, Kaylee Spaney, who I am not familiar with, is going to be playing Priscilla, and she has tapped Jacob Elordi from Euphoria to play Elvis. I guess she had actually tried to get Justin Bieber to do it, and he didn't do it. You know what I will say with Justin Bieber, though? Do you guys remember when Justin Bieber hosted SNL for the first time? And I was like, this kid could potentially follow in Timberlake's footsteps. Right now I say that and everybody's like, fuck Timberlake. Because Timberlake, remember, at one point was so beloved. And especially, do you remember when he was starting to do SNL? He had hosted so many times, and him and Jimmy Fallon would always do all, like, remember Dick in the Box, Dick in a Box? I mean, he would legitimately for a minute was considered a comedic genius on top of being, hailed for his music with like Future Sex Love Sounds. I'm really taking you guys down a pop culture ride today. But I remember watching Justin Bieber host SNL for the first time thinking like, holy shit, he really could be the next Timberlake. And then I remember watching him on SNL and I was like, oh, no, we can't. And that's no offense to Justin Bieber. I just think sometimes remember acting is a different skill. Like Timberlake and sketch comedy is a different skill than sometimes acting is. Timberlake did it really well. Timberlake never really hit in movies or TV other than his work in Saturday Night Live. But you saw that Justin Bieber was not able to do that. I remember going, oh, this isn't that funny. He's not really pulling it off. So Justin Bieber, I think his thing is music, and that's great, but it's not going to be the whole kit and caboodle. I don't think he would have been a great Elvis. I'm curious to see what Jacob Elordi will do with it, but I'm more excited to have this movie set from Priscilla Presley's viewpoint, because remember, she was an underage girl that married Elvis. This is going to be a really interesting story to tell during this time. So I wanted to bring that up. I'm trying to think of any other moments I missed with the Emmys, and I hope I didn't ruin this for any of you guys, but I can't imagine that you're going home tonight on a Tuesday. I'm like, I saved the Emmys for tonight. White Lotus won tons, which is weird because White Lotus feels like it came out like 3 years ago. Time means nothing anymore. And by the way, they already finished filming White Lotus season 2, and the only returning character will be Jennifer Coolidge's character. So that's very exciting for Jennifer Coolidge fans. Haven't you felt like we've rediscovered Jennifer Coolidge every year for the last 20 years? I don't remember there being a year where there hasn't been some article of like, finally, Jennifer Coolidge getting the respect she deserves. I feel like I've read that article now for 20 years. She's that damn good, but I'm like, how do we keep rediscovering her? I don't know. So, yeah. Let's see. Barry, I would have loved Barry to have a win. There was an episode of Barry, you guys, which is Bill Hader on HBO Max. And Bill Hader is directing every episode of the new season of Barry that's filming right now. But last season, there was this episode, I think it was like the second to last episode, where they have a scene where he is being chased. And it is one of the coolest, most uniquely done chase scenes I've seen on TV or film in years. And Bill Hader directed that. Like, if I ever get to talk with Bill Hader, I would just like, what did it take from conception to shooting to shoot this? Because it was so unique, from the sound design on it to the location. He was on like this like motorcycle, and it was just so good. If you saw this season of Barry, you know exactly what I'm talking about. So yeah, the Emmys. Do you guys want to hear the little Steve Martin thing that made me laugh? I always like to throw in little. Let's listen to this together as a family, shall we?
Thank you so much for what was in my head a standing ovation. Please, this is so embarrassing. Selena and Steve are here too. But really, what an audience you are. I wish I could box you up and take you home like classified White House documents.
Selena, how much time do we have left?
I don't know. With a good diet and exercise, maybe 10, 12 years.
Earlier tonight, as I was walking the red carpet I have at home, I thought, what's the difference between being in movies versus television? And I realized, well, Marty can get work in television.
Thanks, Steve. Hey, I've always been curious. Does it bother you when people come up to you and say, big fan, Angela Lansbury?
You know what I love about working with these guys? No paparazzi, ever.
And now it's time to get to the reason why we're here. Have you or someone you love ever considered a reverse mortgage? No. Wrong gig, Steve. Wrong gig.
Come on, man. Like, I love things that just are silly and make you laugh. And I want that this show to be like that, where it's just gonna be silly. Like, it doesn't always have to be bogged down in all of this. Hanging out with my mom the last couple of days, and you'll hear her talk about this. She keeps saying, drink the good wine, he's trying to make those moments happen now. Try to enjoy yourself, try to laugh at things, because there's so much right now to not laugh at, right? It's been so intense for so long. So I love those little reprieves, and I hope I can be this reprieve for you in little bursts here and there. But I wanted to play that for you. Okay, now on to something. This is the last thing before my mom. I hate this. Is that Nicki Minaj? Listen, Nicki Minaj is an insanely talented rapper. I've said this from the beginning. Her verse on the song Monster off My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy by Kanye West is literally one of the best rap verses of all time. I'm not talking female, I'm talking male, female, all time. For me, like, a star was born in that verse, even though she had already been doing stuff. But I was like, holy, for somebody to be the best part of a song that is not even on their album. That was a Kanye West album, and she was on there with Jay-Z, Kanye. I mean, just heavy hitters, and she destroyed all of them. And she's had some other just amazing songs. But I don't love, like, Nicki Minaj, obviously she's a big Bravo fan. And it's just like we were talking about Jennifer Lawrence yesterday, also a big Bravo fan. But I agree with the stuff that she says. I do not agree with Nicki Minaj. And Nicki Minaj always comes from this weird place of hate, like she's being backed into a corner, and she just tries to like snarl her way out, and it just comes off so ugly and weird. So she has a radio show on Apple Music. I think it's like Queen Bee Radio or something. And she said this horrific thing about Garcelle, which is just like, I'm going to let you guys listen to it. You can decide for yourself. But I woke up this morning, and it was one of those things where I should have not checked my phone, because this immediately started like, I was just like, oh, this is so gross. But let me play this for you guys and see what you think. You probably already have heard it, but for those who haven't, let me just warn you, this is really, really strong language. I know there is strong language in the entire podcast, but I think this is really next level to me.
And now, this lady is on one of the Real Housewives talking about, leave my son alone. Don't be commenting on my son's page. Bitch, if you can't fill this damn motherfucking heat, get the fuck out the kitchen, bitch. Do you care about my motherfucking son, bitch? Did you care about my motherfucking son, hoe? I see why that white man left you, bitch.
Okay. So, a little context, always important. Nicki Minaj, I think the anger here is coming from, and this is from Bravo by Betches, their account. I think she's saying this because a year ago, Garcelle interviewed one of the women who accused Nicki Minaj's husband of sexual assault on her talk show, The Real. So that is where that anger is coming from. But also, the thing is, and if you guys don't know this, Nicki Minaj's husband has to register as a sex offender. I don't want to, there's rape allegations. I mean, he's very lucky has not had to serve an insane amount of jail time. And listen, I guess Nicki Minaj, it's like, seems to be one of her weaknesses is just picking the extremely wrong person to couple up with. But I'm like, I'm sorry, man. You can have your Potomac judge, but like this, you are so out of it's gross. It's like, Nicki, clean up your own shit before you talk about anybody else's shit. Bitching about, oh, my son. Garcelle wasn't complaining about people. Garcelle was just saying, I was crying all night because I was worried about my son with all those bots. Like, Nicki, how dare you? Like, I don't understand. I don't understand how women can treat other women sometimes, especially as a Black woman to another Black woman in this industry. Like, that was gross to me. I just hate when things like this, things that Nikki shouldn't even be involved in, end up affecting like your actual image of that person. And it's not even the stuff that she wants to be known for. I mean, Nicki Minaj wants to be known as an artist, as a musician, not as somebody that's like just giving extremely horrific, gross, and spiteful messages about a real housewife. Listen, and Nikki, that's my job. You're coming for my job now. I don't know. I wanted to play with that for you guys. I'm so curious to hear your thoughts. Remember, leave comments on the YouTube. Go over to the Facebook page, So Bad It's Good with Ryan Bailey. Throw up a post there. Get conversation started. I am so curious about this myself. If you do love this podcast, please leave it 5 stars on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Also, go over to the Patreon. A new Selling the OC recap will be out this week. I'll be doing another one probably with Maritza this week, and also be doing a Q&A over on the Patreon, and you get all of that for a couple bucks a month, plus access to all the other past episodes. Oh, shit, you guys. Guess what showed up in my inbox tonight? The season premiere of Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And I am choosing to spend this time with you, working, doing an insanely long podcast instead of, and by the way, I wish you could actually see where I'm at right now, because I have the image, you guys, for listening, of Buca de Beppo. Let me see if I can change this to show you. I am like huddled over on this tiny bed, and it is like so hot in this room because my mom says I won't leave the door open, but I can't leave the door open because it's a tiny house and I'm cursing my ass off in here. And I'm just trying to be, let me see, how do I background and effects? Okay, let me take, how do I just do no filter? Okay. Okay. So this is, do you see, I'm laying on a bed, you guys. This is my mom's painting from Marshall's that she got. And I am just like huddled over. I have the microphone laid like right next to me. I hope it's getting good sound. It is horrific. So I'm going to go back to my Buca de Beppo. There we are. Oh, that's a gross Buca de Beppo. That's not as, that's the clear image we want. So, okay. So you guys, a little about our first guest. Her name is Becky Bailey. A long time ago, she birthed me. She is my mother. And if you haven't been listening, she's been going through some health issues, and she's going to keep fighting these health issues. And she's kicking ass at it. I will say that. I've never seen somebody with, I moan all day long, all night long. And this lady is up, energy. She's, and just always, always really just so positive, and I don't know why I haven't inherited that. And I know she's like scared right now, but you wouldn't know it, because she's just she's the best. And so before I just keep blubbering, I'm gonna cut to this. And this is like my favorite. I love talking to my mom on the podcast, especially because I can be silly to her and try to get her to laugh and try to get her to, I don't know. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, here's Becky Bailey. My dad was at teaching Bible study. Isn't this great? My dad was teaching Bible study. He just started doing that, which is to kids. So you'll hear my dad at the very end of this, and my dad will be on tomorrow for Wednesday's show, because I'm going to drive back tomorrow back to California as well. But here she is, the lady of the hour, Becky Bailey. We'll take a commercial break after that, and then we'll come back for Southern Charm recap. Remember to use the timestamps, you guys. Oh my God, YouTube, I just realized that you are not going to be able to hear me and my mom's conversation. So just this once, maybe go over to the podcast and listen to it. You can check out the timestamps and when it starts. It was actually a really cute conversation. So I should have recorded that video wise. I'm an idiot. Welcome to YouTube. I know what I'm doing. Whee! Okay, Southern Charm recap. Here we go. Bapa do bapa DTT. Oh, you guys, Southern Charm. These guys, they just do not learn at all, and I kind of love them for it. I truly love that. I love when reality stars truly don't seem to learn or grow. There's almost something comforting in it, right? It's like watching Kyle Cook get hammered in Summer House, like even on the most recent season when you're just like, oh my god, he doesn't seem to necessarily learn, and then we get the spoils of that. By the way, on YouTube, look at this guy. This little Craigie with a pillow that I have now have up on my screen. Look at that smile. Look at that cute little guy. What do you think Craig's O face is like with Paige? I mean, that's disgusting. Why are you even thinking thoughts like that? Ryan, come on, man. You're better than that. You're so not. One sec. They truly destroy. Like I always try to, do you ever try to understand the attraction of being a reality star? So like, sure, you get to like go, you get paid, but you don't get paid tons, you guys, unless the show's a massive hit, but that's not like the first year. So you risk your reputation. You let people know your little peccadillos, your little dark secrets, your faults. Like we all know that Shep is probably not going to be the best boyfriend, and he definitely doesn't want to be the best husband ever. I feel like this would be kind of a negative thing if you were to reveal that on a national television show. Like if he gets involved with anybody at this point, it's just like, how would that even work? How would anybody truly want to be in a relationship with Shep? Now, I love Shep, but I don't have to ever be with Shep. I'll never have to be with Shep. So I can like him, but it's weird. It's one of those things that you have to have this weird conversation with yourself, almost moralistically. Like, are we okay with Shep hurting somebody like Taylor? He's technically being honest, I think probably 85% of the time. And he seems like a fun dude. He's just horrible at relationships. And unfortunately, relationships involve a whole nother human being, right? Like when I fuck my shit up, like hopefully usually I fuck my shit up. When I fuck other people's shit up, it's horrible because you feel so guilty. I don't know if Shep has that in him though. I don't know if he does necessarily truly feel guilt the way that, I don't know. Like, what is the way that guilt should be felt? But you know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think it weighs him down like it weighs down some people. And because, like, other than that, how would you live with yourself if you keep doing the same behavior again and again and again and again? I think the fallacy or the problem, and I know this might sound a little wild, just go with me here. In this day and age, we are so lucky to have so many heroes. I'm so thankful that we're getting more and more female heroes, but we have a lot of male heroes, like we've always had a lot of male heroes, but there's also a lot of male heroes, like from beat poets to Hunter S. Thompson to even like I would say Anthony Bourdain. So you have all of these people like Shep that look up to like Anthony Bourdain. He really out there. He lived life. He drank the beer and went to these places, discovered what it was like to live. And for Anthony Bourdain, he really did do all of those things. And it was amazing. Like I truly am enraptured by that guy's life. But if you watch that documentary on Anthony Bourdain, Roadrunner, or read anything about him, there's always trade-offs, right? He was an absentee father for a little bit, even though he loved his daughter dearly. But you see that part of it. He falls in love potentially with the wrong person, and he became like a goofy school kid that said some really dumb shit. Like he wasn't perfect. He had his faults. And for all of us to hero worship people like that, there's so much to hero worship, but to not realize or not recognize what that trade-off is, what those faults are. Do you ever wonder about that? Would you love to mean so much to everybody, or would you love to be cherished by few, but it would be like the most cherished? They would love you the most, but it was only a select few. Or would you rather be loved by millions? But they really didn't know you, but they loved you. Like, do you ever think about that? I don't know. So I wonder about this just when it comes to Shep, because this is a fascinating episode. I mean, you could, on its face, it's a little bland and boring because basically what it is, it's a guy's night over at Miss Patricia, and then the girls go out for dinner. Not a lot more than that. But within that, there are all these things that kind of get brought up that was really kind of making me think, that I was digesting a lot of different relationship aspects to it that I thought was interesting. And I love people like Austen trying to start to stand up for Madison, not Madison, sorry, for Taylor, Shep's girlfriend, when it's another thing where it's like, Austin, that's great. Where was that with your own behavior on Summer House? Where was that? You know, it's like that's great that you're like feeling guilty for Taylor, but you actually took part in really pitting two women against each other. So it is interesting. And I don't want to just say this about men, because I know women can be very hurtful and do some really wild shit. I've been on the other side of that. But I do find it also darkly comic that these men try to be like, I think it's too far what he's done. And I'm like, you didn't think it was too far what you did on Summer House? Just because it wasn't technically on Southern Charm, you get a pass? No. Like, I would be every scene of like, Shep, the reason why I'm concerned is because last year I fucked over two women on national television. Like, I hate that we created this multiverse of Bravo, yet we really don't talk about it that much. Like, we brought up that Sierra was in town. We didn't get to see her, so maybe she wasn't either offered to film or she didn't want to film, but we don't really even get it brought up in conversation, which I think it definitely should be. I think it should be part of the conversation. Like, we all know this shit happened. Why isn't it fair game? I mean, in this episode, we had a flashback where even Thomas Ravenell was in it. Why don't we get to talk about these shows as a whole, like the people in the actual shows? So this is Southern Charm, season 8, episode 12. It is called Guys and Dolls. And that's just real simple. If I were to break that down, I'd be like, guys and girls. There's a famous musical, Guys and Dolls. I'm a musical theater geek. I know that's not a surprise to any of you guys. But I loved Guys and Dolls. So anyways, Guys and Dolls is the title for this. And the show description is this: Patricia invites the guys over for a gentleman's dinner. The ladies get together for a night out. The girls take the time to face their issues head on. Like, that was the show description. Bravo, will you hire me to write your show descriptions? Like, the Beverly Hills one was too much, and it like picked out scenes that didn't really mean that much. This is just like, the girls take the time to face their issues head on. Did somebody black out? Like, how did this even, come on. The girls get together to talk about their experiences with the men. I mean, like, that's bland in itself, but it's a little bit more. Obviously, we always start off these shows with previously on Southern Charm, Naomie fully in voiceover mode. I always kind of poked fun at her in the beginning, but you can tell she's getting cocky, and I like it. And so we started with the scenes from the past, from Aldbross when they were there, and Austen, and I love that I still blank on Olivia's name still. I am the worst with names, you guys. It's nothing against Olivia, but I truly was like, Austen, and they had that scene at Aldbross where Austen was like, I really do like you, okay? I like you a lot, and I want to date you. I like how Austin's always sure he wants to date somebody after he's dicked down somebody else, because I'm assuming him and Sierra hooked up, right? And so Naomie goes, now that everything's gravy with Austen and Olivia, he decided to host a party of his own. And then we flash back to Friendsgiving, and we have that scene where Austen called to invite Patricia and Whitney to Friendsgiving, and he was like, oh, I can't believe you're going to let Naomie go solo. And Miss Patricia was like, well, zoinks, what? And Naomie's like, yeah, it's true. Whitney and I have been getting cozy. Whitney and I have been getting cozy. Oh, I told you guys, if you listen to the Friday recap with Beverly Hills, I truly am starting to hate the word cozy, because Lisa Rinna was like, let's get into our cozies. Let's get into our cozies. So we have Whitney telling his mom, like, yeah, we're hanging out. And then we have the music, making it look so easy. You got to hand it to the man. I love how they use the song in the previews for the week. Then Naomi was, but when we all gathered at Austin's house for Friendsgiving, some of us got the cold shoulder. And we have Naomi going, hey, I brought a squash salad and another salad. And Paige going, I don't like it. I don't like it. The gall of somebody that doesn't bring a damn thing to this thing going, I don't like it. And we have a scene of Naomi telling Olivia at the Friendsgiving that she's getting weird vibes from Paige. And then we have a scene of Paige telling Kathryn that she doesn't like Olivia. And Kathryn was eating that shit up with a spoon. Kathryn was like, you see it too. She's a bitch. And then, of course, we ended last week's episode with Naomi going, Paige, would you like to talk outside? And we have that whole conversation on the patio where I said Paige really killed it. I saw Paige describe it somewhere online today where she was really cocky about it. I hate cockiness in people. And yes, you could say she did annihilate Naomi in that conversation, but I think with, when you have class is when you destroy somebody and you let us say it for you. You don't say it for yourself. I always think there's that differentiation of let us sing your praises. Trust me, the audiences are so sophisticated now that we will. Don't ever buy into your own bullshit. I say that to all of us. So Naomi's like, you really didn't think we would end up on a happy note. And then Paige is like, I didn't come at you. You would know if I did. It's easy as the birds and the bees and the 1, 2, 3s. Hoo, hoo. And now we're into the show. We see the Charleston Bridge. We see flag. We see horses. And then we see Craig at the gym. And you guys, he's doing side planks. And I've been telling you about my workout journey. Right now I'm laying on a bed like a slug. But I do those side planks at my work with my trainer now. And Craig goes, God, these are hard. Oh, and Craig, dude, I was like, Craig's right. They are hard. Craig wasn't, see, I'm usually drenched in sweat when I do it. Craig was not nearly as sweaty as I am. Why do you think God made me like that? Why do you think God made it so I sweat more? But you know what I'm saying? I genuinely have this, if I get nervous, you guys, oh man, that's why I will wear a jacket of some sort because I will get nervous really easily. And I know that I'm going to stop talking. Okay. So we cut to Leva, and Leva's doing a scene with little Lamar, her scene partner. Leva has done more scenes with her son this season than Austen has done with Craig. This little kid should be Screen Actors Guild at this point. This little kid's getting better as an actor each one. He's like, can I have another cookie? Can I get 2 cookies? It's why is this one of Leva's only scene partners in the show? I hate to say this, but I feel like Leva has never fully ensconced herself in this show in a way that we've totally gotten behind her the way that we usually do with each one of these characters, even in their low moments. You might disagree with me. I almost have more of a soft spot for Venita because Venita is thrown to the wolves every episode. I truly don't know Venita's purpose of this show except to be a punching bag. Even Leva tried to throw down with Venita this episode, but Leva, I almost just feel like they keep showing us Leva because they're going to do the Leva spinoff. And I'm trying to, maybe I'm completely wrong and you guys fucking love Leva. I don't dislike her. I just feel like it's weird that all of a sudden when she takes charge of things and it's just, it's remember when we had that whole strong group of girls and they're all gone now, sadly. It's Leva had to fill in for the absence of that, but she's talking like she's been on this show for 7 seasons. Does that make any kind of sense with you guys? Anyways, they do that scene. Then we cut to, what is it, Marcie? Shep's cousin and her husband, and they're doing pushes to make her go into labor. Why are we even doing that? No offense, Marcie, you seem really nice, and I hope you have a beautiful baby. And I'm just what are we doing here? What are we this desperate? Just show me more footage of Miss Patricia and Whitney. Like, show me Whitney on a toilet. That's fascinating to me. So they say tomorrow's the big day. So I guess she's going to deliver tomorrow. Like, what if next week's Southern Charm is just an hour of Marcie delivering? Like, and we're just like, that's what they prepped us for all season. We cut to Patricia's house. Whitney is making coffee, and then he's lighting a fireplace with a remote. And Naomie comes in, and she's like, Monty doesn't even bark anymore, the dog, which then signifies that Naomi's been coming over to the house quite a lot to potentially do the hippity dippity with old Whitney. And they hug awkwardly. Like, do you ever notice Whitney only hugs awkwardly? I'm the same way, so I'm not, but like, he only hugs awkwardly, and like there's like a kiss on a cheek, and she takes the coffee from Whitney, and she's like super strong, just like I like it. And he goes, I like your leather pants. They're very parachute pants, like mid 80s, Grace Jones. I love Grace Jones. And then Naomi goes, I was born in the 90s. Do I even want to know what year you were born? And that's one of the reasons why I think this relationship is 65 to 70% bullshit. What woman doesn't Google any dude that they're interested in? I've had very little experience with girls, which is really sad. But I do know that all of the girls have seemed to have Googled me at a point. And how, dude, imagine how embarrassing that is when they Google you and they see like fucking like stupid web series or podcasts where I'm like bitching about Erica Jane. That's insane. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, in fact, who out there can clean up my whole web? Could you just put something cool as like the top search? It's either that or like I always tell you guys, like I have that Google alert on my name. And once again, it was like I was on Allison Rosen's podcast and that came up on a Google alert, but right underneath it was the other Ryan Bailey that does gay porn, and he's supposedly really into like backdoor stuff, and he's supposedly like the best at it. But it's like great, like it's like life isn't fair. Anyways, so she's holding Roy, the white dog. Whitney is in this like denim outfit, and she's like, "Is your mom home?" And he goes, "She's in bed. She gets up at the crack of noon." And then Naomi's like, "Does she know we hang out?" And he's like, "She's familiar." And he goes, "Mom wants to do a gentleman's dinner en français. I want classic French entrees. Chef Perry Joulette. Chef Perry from Joulette Restaurant's going to do it." I don't know what fucking voice I'm doing right now. And he goes, "I'd like to ask you to co-host because of your joie de vivre." And Naomi goes, "Well, it's not really a good idea because Leva told me that Craig hates me." And we get a flashback to that where Craig's like, "You're a psycho ex-girlfriend." And Whitney's like, "Well, fuck him then. What's not to like?" Whitney says. And Naomi goes, "There's a lot." And Whitney goes, "Well, I'm sure there is, but I haven't seen it yet." And Naomi goes, "Oh my God, Whitney, not everyone knows that you're this sweet." And I was like, what? I no offense to Whitney, you guys, but I'm just like, also, it's like you're in a fucking mansion in Charleston. Like you're like, it's like, yeah, I guess it's a nice thing to say, but you're also in a mansion in Charleston with the producer of the show. Like I can be sweeter than that. I can be like, I'm making this up off the top of my head, but I'd be like, "Naomi, I love your new nose. I think it's amazing. Literally, Craig and Matul, you didn't belong with either of those people because you're smarter and you're more beautiful than they could ever possibly imagine or even try to be. And the strength that you have, I mean, of course they were threatened by you. Look at you. You're the entire package." Like Whitney, could you even do half that good? Give me a break. We cut to Austin's house, and Bailey, which is like, that's my last name. So I was like, whoa. Bailey, Austin's friends, like, "What's up, boss?" And Austin's like, "Patricia wants us to do a black tie dinner." And he's showing the jacket that he got. And he's like, "Will you give me a good haircut?" And she's like, "Yeah, you'll look great." And I was like, what is he Kanye West all this time? Like he's calling in barbers. And this Bailey girl, I didn't like, because she was kind of good looking. So I was like, I don't trust Austen with a good looking barber in his house. So I was like, something happened. He's like, I just want a little trim, let's leave the front, don't, let's keep the volume on the side. You can tell that Austin's one of those guys that's like, his hair means something to him. Like for certain things I've just given up on in terms of look. Like I've not gotten a haircut in months now. I have this beautiful mustache that my sister made fun of me the other night for and called me Super Mario Brothers, but I'm not concerned greatly. Because I've just accepted that I'm never going to be the Craig Conover or the Austen, but this guy's concerned because he really truly thinks he has power in his hair. And he goes, listen, my hair is what I fuss over because I have a peanut head. And I think that is actually a very brave admission from Austen that he has a peanut head. And I do not doubt for a damn second. But then I was kind of like, I kind of want to see him with a peanut head. I kind of want to like have the guys hold him down and shave off all his hair. We get a montage of Austen playing with his hair. And Austin's also getting nervous. He's like, yo, you're cutting away. And she goes, Olivia is gonna love this. And how are you guys doing, by the way? And he goes, life is good, I'm happy. And then Bailey asks, what's going on with Sheppy and Taylor? And Austin's like, well, same old. He knows he can get away with murder with her. I mean, she's 15 years younger. And she says he's adjusting, Austen tells Bailey. And then Austin goes, but they've been together 2 years. How are you still adjusting after 2 years? He then once again goes, I feel like you're cutting too much. You're making me nervous on the hair. And he goes, I want it to sit perfectly. I don't want it to look bulky. And I'm like, dude, you're in his house. Do not let him buy. Anyways, he sees the hair finally. And he's like, fuck yeah, man. He's happy with the hair, you guys. We cut to Shep and Taylor walking into a restaurant, and Taylor informs Shep that her mom can't drink because she has to drive back to North Carolina. So obviously Taylor's mom's in town, and Shep goes, I'll be your sober buddy. And I'm like, oh, what a good guy. In a talking head, Taylor goes, I was definitely a mommy's girl. When I was growing up, it was all about my mom, and she like instilled all these values in me: Jesus, seatbelts, and sunscreen, which is a very Kyle Cook alligator. What is it? Like Tiger's Friends Family or Shark's Friends Family. Remember when he said that in Summer House? But she says she instilled Jesus, seatbelts, sunscreen. I just, listen, this is the episode I told Sophie on Monday that I was like, I really am starting to really like Taylor. It's, like there seems to be an innate goodness in her. Some people that don't work well on TV are some of the best people you're ever going to meet in real life. She also says that her mom's not a sassy mom, but she'll tell it like it is. The mom comes and Shep says, oh, get the tomato soup with the grilled cheese trio. And I was like, dude, if I was in Charleston, like it seems like there's too much good food. There's always opportunities to drink. I'm just so lucky I'm not there. Her mom was in town for a girls trip, and she says, we've been doing these girls trips with my friends for the last 20 years, had a great time. But we were at this place, and the sommelier, however you say it, was giving us $250 a bottle of wine. We didn't know until we got the bill. How are we going to explain this to our husbands? And Taylor says, well, you guys had a lot of fun, which, by the way, Shep should have stood up right then and there and said, I'll take care of it. Let me take care of that bill. Remember when in Jackson, Brittany takes Kentucky? If you guys watch that one season shit show, Jax paid, what was it, for the IVF for the cousin? And then he was like, just remember, that's my baby. It was like, I feel like Shep should have stood up right here. Shep goes, we're all train wrecks, Shep says in a talking head, but they're faith-based. And listen, I'm a skeptic. I'm a cynic. So that's a definite chasm between me and their family. So you can tell Shep definitely is given a list of negative reasons in his head of why they can't work. Like, it seems like there's so many negative reasons to Shep. The mom says, with you guys, how you can disagree about throwing an egg that breaks, but it's how you get over it. That's the way that you actually become a couple and stay together for 50 years. And Shep's like, I'm so sorry for showing my ass all over that one. And Mom says, being humble, that's what's going to get you in a long-term relationship. And Taylor says, you got to push your significant other in the right directions. And Shep goes, I can be contrite, and I can say things I don't mean. And the mom says, just be good counsel to each other. And the mom seemed like just a really like a nice lady. I mean, there was just a really nice lady, and it just made me feel bad for Taylor so much more because I know they're not together. Why did my voice get so high? Anyways, now we had a shot of sun going down, and we're over to Patricia's house. The chef Perig, he's talking French. He's like, oui, 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 I'm preparing escargot. I hit the gas stoves. We're gonna do the demi-glaze. The dog Peaches is in there. And he's like, Peaches, you want to help me? Oui, oui, oui. The escargot is out there. Miss Patricia is like, oh, exceptional. And he's like, we also have this nice duck, this pink duck. And Miss Patricia's like, well, I would like mine well done. Miss Patricia, I love you. I truly do. But you always got to go with how the chef wants it. I will say my ex I've said this many, like with, and sorry for vegetarians and, but when we would have steak, we get like she wanted it burnt to a crisp. And it's like, but that's how she liked it. But it's like, it's not how it's meant. Anyways. So he's like, well, you're paying me. If that's the way you like it. We will make it like shoe leather. And she goes, well, I know what I like, and I don't like the taste of rare duck, and I get what I want, and that's that. I was like, damn, dude, that's a girl boss right there. And then the chef's like, I told Peaches to be nice, or I would put her into the oven. We cut to Leva walking into this restaurant, Bourbon and Bubbles, and she's like, I'm here for a girls' night for 6. And she gets seated. And this isn't Republic. It was a place called Bourbon and Bubbles, but she's like talking to the staff like she knows them. She's like, can you ask Scott for a lint brush? Because she's wearing this big coat. And like, I guess it all got over her outfit. Kathryn gets back. Kathryn gets there and she's back to her red hair. And she's like, it feels like the red me again, for sure. Then Naomie gets there, Venita and Olivia, Taylor, the gang's all here. Naomie comes in and Kathryn immediately gives like a dirty look. Naomie orders a tequila soda with orange juice. I've never heard of that. I've heard of tequila soda, but to throw in that OJ, that if I was Whitney, I'd be like, man, and you know how to order a drink, Naomie. Oh, I didn't know about the sweet Whitney. Venita gets in there and there's like kind of this awkwardness and but Olivia's like, let's have a fun night. Woo! Taylor and Olivia, they're ready to party. Kathryn doesn't want to get up to hug people because she lets us know she forgot underwears, so she's trying not to get up. Amazing admission out of Kathryn. By the way, this is the first time it's a Chubbs free episode. No Chleb, no Caleb, no Chubbs, whatever you want to call them. We get a little talking about Chubbs, but no Chubbs. Chubbs, I feel like, is done. They're filming the reunion today, folks. They are filming the Southern Charm reunion today. And I got to imagine Andy is just like, he coasts through the Southern Charm one because he loves to look at those dudes. He finds them all hot. And he genuinely gets a kick out of them. So it's not the stress that Real Housewives of Beverly Hills is for Andy. And so it's always the reunion that you can tell Andy's just having a good time. And I love watching Andy have a good time at reunions. So Taylor gets an espresso martini. They're going to do the tasting menu. Still a little bit of awkwardness. And Leva says, well, anyways, she hooked up with Whitney, referring to Naomie, says this to Kathryn and goes, do you know this? And Kathryn says, I heard something. And Leva says, well, maybe this will bond you in some sort of awkward, weird way. And I'm like, this is what I'm saying. Like, Leva, weird. Like, did the producer make you do that? This is a weird, I mean, shut up. Like, what a weird thing to say. Like, you guys both have you guys have bumped uglies. Like, you guys both have seen Whitney's privates. Like, what a weird thing to say. And Taylor says, well, cheers to never hooking up with Whitney. And Leva goes, the universe will bond you in the weirdest ways. Kathryn says, I think he's a great catch. And I don't know what's going on, but like, it's not weird. He's like a genuine good guy. And I'm like, Kathryn, are you in a hostage video? Wait, what? Like, I've seen Kathryn. There's that Britney Spears quality to Kathryn, and that you love her and you feel for her and you know all this shit she has gone through has just had to be taken such a mental toll on her in so many different ways. But at the same time, we'll still have these like wild opinions or forgiveness that a lesser person would just never have. I don't know if you guys agree with that, but it always kind of wigs me. I was like, what? He goes, and then Naomie goes, well, he cares a lot about you, Kathryn. He really does. You know, you and I didn't get to have a conversation at Friendsgiving because of Craig, but I'm sorry if I hurt you, you know, with Taylor and Olivia, you know, so she's apologizing. And Kathryn goes, yeah, I didn't know what the motive was. And they're now talking about the Caleb situation when they were talking at Olivia's oyster party. And Naomie goes, well, he made it seem like you were like the narcissist and he's the victim. And we get a flashback to that where Chubbs, I guess we did get a little tiny flashback back at Chubbs, where Chubbs is like, yeah, I don't even know, man. I don't even know. And she's like, why are you with her? And Kathryn goes, he adamantly denies saying anything and said, you talked all sorts of shit. And it's just like, it's so weird because denial, you know, when it turns out everyone was right about him. You know, it's so crazy that he was talking this shit, Kathryn says. And she goes, I'm in a can of worms when I talk about it. I'm still processing it, Kathryn says. In a talking head, she says, I feel like she's the Naomie I met years ago. You know, it's confusing me. It's like, I like her. Why does she have to, why do I have to like her? Why does she have to be a bitch? In a new scene, Whitney is showing the bartender the secret room where the wine cooler is. Like, dude, I've told you guys this. I fucking love secret rooms. I've never had one. What if I was like, I have like a 50 Shades of Grey room? No, like if I ever really, and this is probably why I won't, but if I ever had like fuck you money, I'd build a bat cave, like hands down. Like I would build something with a hidden door, something that I would have to slide down. You know what I'm saying? Like I mean, not even a question. I'd be like, spare no cost. I must have hidden rooms everywhere. And I would and they would just be TVs playing Housewives all the time. Or you know what I'd do? This is it. I would build a replica of Dorit's room at Buca de Beppo. I would build a replica of the bar at Vanderpump Rules. And I would just like do like fanfic. I would do fan fiction come to life, though. You know, that's a great idea, Ryan. Damn. I just had an idea. Okay, anyways. Patricia is looking for place cards. She's like, I can't find place cards. Whitney, where are my place cards? And Whitney's like, I found them. Here's Shep, Austen, Craig. Oh God. And Patricia's like, I'm doing these without my glasses. Who do you want to sit next to, Whitney? And Whitney goes, Adriana Lima. And they both laugh. The model. And Miss Patricia's like, well, I don't know who's talking to who these days. I don't know. And Whitney looks at the table and he's like, it's like a tchotchke heaven on the table because there's all these little like decorations. And Miss Patricia goes, Becky, can I please have a glass of champagne? And they both sip champagne, Whitney and mom. Very beautiful moment. And then all of a sudden Patricia goes, I prefer champagne in a coupe glass, don't you? And she goes, not a flute. So Whitney goes to switch it out. He's serving. He's like, well, I'm gonna give Becky a little reprieve. You know, Becky was the one that served, I guess, the champagne in the coupe glass like a dummy. But he gives his mom a paper napkin, and we know how Miss Patricia feels about paper napkins. And I'm like, God damn it, Whitney, you good for nothing. go to your room, dude. Go to your room. And she literally goes, Jesus Christ, Whitney. And she goes, many years ago, I hosted many parties at my house in New York. You know, I even had waiters that had worked at Buckingham Palace and staff. And now I have Whitney, my dumb son. The door knocks. And Shep's like, Whitney? Shep's doing one of those funny knocks, like, da, 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 da. And Whitney is with Jenny. He's like, Mom wants proper napkins. Miss Patricia has to answer the door because Whitney's trying to take care of this napkin situation. And we see that Shep has dressed the occasion. He's on a white coat, tie. And she goes, well, how elegant are we tonight? You know, you should wear this everywhere. You look great. And then I was kind of like, what about Shep and Miss Patricia? Miss Patricia, I got to tell you, I kind of find her attractive. Like I do. And you really see how she, you know what? I'm like, she's a good looking lady. And for 81 years old, are you shitting me? She's hot, dude. Shep goes, I have to step up my game to hold on to Taylor somehow. I'm like, no, you don't, you idiot. Taylor's basically begging to be with you. You could literally like fucking wear like just boxers all day and she'd still be with you. Whitney is trying to like touch Shep's tie. Patricia goes to check on the chef. Becky gives Shep champagne. And, Whitney's like, this is 1950s French. And Shep drinks it. He goes, tasty champagne. And Patricia goes like, it's Tattingers. It's Bottons. Well, and he goes, well, thanks for having me. And when he goes, I found old place cards, like Ghosts of Christmas Past, like Cameron. And I was like, oh, Cameron. We get a flashback to her sucking on the lime. And then they go, remember when Thomas almost beat Whitney up at it? Picture's like, remember when Thomas almost beat Whitney up at a table? And we see a flashback of that. And I got to tell you, the flashback of Whitney, he looks older than he does now. Like with the side part hair that he had, he used to look so creepy. So like even when I bag on Whitney now, like he looks so much better. Like now that I'm like, oh yeah, he almost looks like a supermodel compared to how he, I'm just like, holy shit. Shep goes, we've come a long way. We've come a long way. Craig comes in and Pat says, we don't have Michael to open up the door anymore. The door to our hearts, Miss Patricia. That's what Michael did for me. But yeah, it is a bummer. I always get bummed about I hope Michael, positive thoughts for Michael's recovery. Craig has a sports jacket, but no tie. Craig orders a bourbon and Austen knocks. Shep is showing his sterling silver cufflinks to Miss Patricia. Whitney goes to Austen. Who is it? He goes, it's Austen. Open the door. He goes, give me your jacket. Austen hands Whitney the jacket, and then Whitney, being a fun prankster, just throws it on the floor. We cut back to girls' night, and Venita goes, ooh, I think a fine man just walked by. And Kathryn goes, I met a dating coach recently, and she said, come to my event. And it's like, you put down a key, and then someone gets a lock, and then you see if that key opens the lock. And Naomi's like, that's a swingers party, not a date. And she's like, oh, okay. Ha 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 ha. What? Champagne gets brought out for the girls. They all cheers. A bunch of apps gets brought out. And Olivia says, thanks for setting this up. Ha. And she's like dancing at the table. And you can tell that Olivia is getting used to being on camera. Like, didn't you feel that way too? She's like, I'm feeling loose. This is a good camera night for me. And they bring up Venita not being at Friendsgiving. Remember, Venita wasn't invited. And Leva says, well, there's a reason, because Austen said Venita will just run and go tell everything to Madison. And Leva says, you think, your thing with Madison, it's kind of affected our trust. Leva says this to Venita, you guys. And she goes, there was an issue, what happened with me and Venita. And I mean, Venita knows. So Leva's saying there's an issue between them. And everyone looks like, whoa, I don't know what, I didn't even know. And Leva goes, or Venita goes, Madison and I had it. Leva goes, Madison and I had it out at the dog party. I told Madison that it looks like you are not over Austen because of your behavior at the dog party, Leva says. And I told her to let it go because it looks just wild. And she said, or Taylor says, so basically what happened was that Leva said this to Madison. And Taylor said, yeah, I was there. I told her that you were looking out for her. Taylor says she told that to Madison. So then Leva texted Venita and said, Madison's acting dumb. And I guess they were in the car, Venita and Madison, after the dog party. And Venita gave Madison her phone to play music, and she saw the text, which is a super flimsy excuse, Venita. Listen, I like Venita a lot, but that's just a flat out lie. She's like, I had Madison, she needed my phone for music. And so then Madison immediately texted Leva, goes, oh, so now I'm dumb? Oh, now I'm dumb? I'm going to gaslit into a war? And Venita says, keep your mouth shut. Just don't talk shit in a talking head about Leva. You won't have this problem if you don't talk shit. And Leva says, I never had a problem with Madison until you. And this has affected our friendship. And Taylor says, there never should be any choosing sides here. And Leva says, this trust got affected for everyone. And Venita says, well, it makes me sad that you say that. Like, it is sad. Like, Venita is truly on the outside of this group. Even Leva is not standing up for her. And it's like, Leva, realize, like, not every, if you say something and Venita is closer to Madison, I mean, how do you not expect that to get back to her? Leva says, I feel like I'm being, Leva says, I feel like I'm being intense on you right now, and I'm not trying to be. And I'm like, you definitely are. You definitely look like you're being intense on her. We cut back to Patricia going, have you guys had escargot? And Austen goes, I've had it before, ma'am. I like the big ones. And then Shep goes, that's what she said. And then Craig orders an old fashioned, and Patricia goes, I like old fashions. And Craig goes, I'd like it big and strong. And then Shep goes, that's what she said. Dick jokes. Miss Patricia says, if I have any more champagne, I'm going to lay right on the floor. Shep can attack me like a man. And Craig goes, can I have some red wine? And Austen goes, I think I'm just going to make it a champagne night for me. And she's like, I don't want to force anybody to drink more. And Craig goes, it's just a part of our lives now, which is literally the saddest line, I think, that Craig said the entire episode. It's just part of our lives now, the drinking. That's another thing about being on a reality show on Bravo is you have to accept that you're potentially going to either exacerbate your already existing drinking problem or you're going to start one. And they're all being giggly, the guys. And I got to tell you, I'm a sucker for this shit. It's fun. It's fun to watch. Like, it really, truly is. There is something really fun to watch about a bunch of guys being stupid drunk. Patricia's like, I'm getting hungry and drunk. And the chef's like, we are ready to go. It's ridiculous. He's in the kitchen. And then all of a sudden, Craig spills red wine all over the sofa. And Miss Patricia goes, Craig, do you know how much that sofa costs? $45,000. And Shep goes, oh, hey, that's just one day it's sewing down south. He's got that. And Craig is like wiping. And Austen's like, dude, you don't wipe, you dab. He's like, and they're like, get soda water. And Whitney goes, Craig, you literally hit the rug with the wine as well. And then Craig's like, don't give me these dumb fucking cups. How about a curved wine glass that's normal that people can drink out of? I love that I'm saying this the whole time and smiling Craig's right behind me as my Zoom background. He's like, I'm drunk. He's like, don't give me these stupid cups, Whitney. I'm going to spill over I'll spill over. I love people that do something wrong. And that's just like that. They're indignant. They're like, it's your fault, idiot. And then Miss Patricia goes, well, it's okay. Kathryn one time had a spray tan on her thighs. Took an hour and a half to get out of that couch. And Craig goes, it's not on purpose what I did. And Austen goes, no, he's l'air incompetent. And then Craig goes, Miss Pat, I'm sorry. It's inexcusable. I'll take care of it tomorrow, I promise. And Miss Patricia goes, that's good enough for me. In a talking head, Miss Patricia goes, they always say you're the company you keep. So I guess I'm a B-list fuckboy. An amazing line. Amazing line. And listen, I don't think Miss Patricia wrote that line or thought of that line, but she delivered it fucking gangbusters. Erica Jane wishes she could deliver a written line like that. So, anyways, the dinner is ready to go. And Miss Pat's like, let's go, let's go. It's an intimate little dinner. There's like snow globes at the table. Shep's like, shake it up. And then he goes, like Taylor Swift. Did Shep just drop a Taylor Swift? Okay, anyways. And then Miss Patricia goes, boys, these are 18th century chairs and table. Diamond said, don't lean back in the chairs. 18th century, you guys. They bring out the escargot, and somebody goes, I don't know who the guy. Oh, Patricia goes, I don't know who the first guy was that got the idea to eat these little things, but I'm sure he was very hungry. Bon appetit, chef. And they're teaching them how to use the clamps to get the escargots out. And Austen's like, I see that, Whitney. I know. Shep makes a toast and goes, thank you, Miss Pat, for tonight, for the good times, the interesting times, and how you kept your door open always for us. I thank you for that. And then Craig goes, what the fuck? Oh, fuck. I accidentally broke the chair I'm sitting in. And we cut to the leg fell off the chair. And Miss Patricia goes, oh my God, my chairs. I just paid $25,000 for this. Now, listen, I have to say, I literally burst out laughing during this. I burst out laughing, and I usually don't laugh out loud watching these shows anymore. And I got caught up. I laughed. Like the shot of the leg, the shot of Craig, the shot of the guys laughing, the shot of Miss Patricia. I thought it was a little suspect that she even warned him about the 18th century. Like, if you're worried, maybe don't bring out the 18th century chairs, or like maybe, have a kids table for Craig. So it was weird that she warned, but I don't care. I loved this moment. I thought it was so good. And so, and Shep is loving it. Shep loves when Craig fails. And Craig goes, well, these chairs should have more screws in them. And and Shep goes, Craig's good for like, 18,000 for this, restoration and pillows. He's good for this. And then he's like, Craig, busting up a couch and a chair, priceless. And then, and then he goes, Craig, also your zipper's all the way down. And he goes, Craig goes, it's broken. It's broken. And he goes, well, then why wear the pants? And he goes, it broke in the car ride over. Like, what was he furiously jerking off? Like, I love that. It like, this is what I find this endearing about Craig, is that Craig wants everything a certain way. And he's very particular. He's very sensitive and all that stuff. But at the end of the day, he's also just a mess. I relate to that so hard. The next, they're all laughing at this point, including me. The next course of duck gets brought out. They're like, it's beautiful. So then Austin goes, Miss Pat, what do you think of Whitney and Naomie? And she goes, well, I like it, but I'm not getting my hopes up. And a talking head, Miss Pat goes, women come and go, and I try not to be too nosy, but I do pester. And Craig goes, Whitney has a taste for the French. It's like, shut up, Craig. You've literally like busted 60,000 worth of shit. Maybe don't throw in barbs. And he goes, for everything these days. And Miss Pat says, well, do we have any serious relationships, any engagements, marriages coming up? And Craig goes, I would be very disappointed if my current relationship didn't end up in that. And Shep goes, I think about it every day with, trepidation and fear, which is just a horrible way to put it. And Miss Pat goes, well, it's probably some obstacles there. And Shep goes, the obstacle is me. And I'm like, no shit, dude. We all know. We get back to the ladies, and somebody screams in the bar, and Taylor goes, oh my God, I hear Shep. When somebody screams, I feel like it's Shep screaming, it's screaming at me, and I break into a sweat. Taylor says this. And then Taylor goes, I don't care about being called a fucking idiot, like at the egg toss, because at the end of the day, I know he doesn't mean it. And Venita goes, wait, pause. And Kathryn goes, excuse me? And Leva's face is like, zoinks. And Venita says, you can't let him talk to you like that, you know? And she goes, well, that's only once in a blue moon. That's what people, in love, they love to focus on that part with him, and they make him always the villain. Like, she's saying this about Shep. Taylor is. And Kathryn goes, it still doesn't make it right. And Leva says, there's no excuse for that. I'm a big speak to me like you love me. I teach that to my toddler. Listen to that. Speak to you like you love me. And Taylor says, I have the biggest heart for him. I want to be with him. I want to be with him. And there have been times that I've wanted to walk away, but God has pulled on my heart to stay, to stick with it and stick with him. And I'm like, oh, girl, you think God is, this broke my heart, is that God, like, it's like frustrating. Naomie in a talking head goes, he is a lucky man to have her. She's an angel. God is looking out for Shep. And Taylor goes, my cup is overfilling to give love and acceptance to Shep. He's really working on things. What a lovely sentiment to say about your partner, and especially one that we know is potentially not deserving. And Leva says, remember those confessions, and, remember that all this time that you're spending energy on him is you're taking that energy away from yourself by trying to fix another person. And Taylor goes, I know it's hard to teach an old dog new tricks, but we are here to do it. And I'm like, what does that even mean? Like, you as a woman? No, you are not responsible to teach a man new tricks. No, Taylor, you are great. You are amazing. Go find such pure happiness. And a talking head, she goes, people see Shep as a set in his way guy, and I do want to prove them wrong. Here's the deal. And I say this lightly because I like Taylor a lot more. But there's like a big Brittany Jacks thing here. Remember Brittany, like, I can save him, y'all. I can make him, there was that thing. But she was more out loud about it. Like, Taylor's a little meeker than Brittany. Brittany was loud about it. But it's very interesting. It's very similar. I don't think anybody's really pointed that out before. I swear to God, if I see some of you guys start making memes about it, I know that's a Bailey original. So they say, just don't lose yourself. We cut back to Craig, and Craig is talking to Shep, and he's like, Taylor loves you. And Shep goes, I know. And Craig says, if I was dishonest and cheated on Paige, I'm pretty sure that would end the relationship, but Taylor will always love you. And you know that. And Whitney says, if you keep cheating, will she stay with you? She'll probably stay with you, won't you? And Shep goes, that's not true. No, she won't stay with me. And he goes, I don't have he's basically like, I have inefficiencies. I as a person have inefficiencies. Craig opens up his phone at this point and sees a Demois blind. And Pat goes, you have to stay faithful to the same woman the rest of your life. Craig goes, can I be excused, Miss Patricia? And Austen asks to grab Chauncey. I don't even know what the grab. Anyways, Craig is talking to Austen, and Craig goes, dude, Shep's Raya profile, which is a dating app, you guys, for famous people, is on a gossip blog right now. And this gossip blog found it and they put it up. And Austen goes, his stupidity astounds me. And I'm like, Austen, I've literally said the same thing about you. Your stupidity astounds me. It's funny how the world works. It's like the circle of life. And Craig goes, fuck, Shep, what am I supposed to say? And Craig says, Taylor reads these gossip websites. Taylor can read. In a new scene, Whitney gets Craig and Austen back to the table. No, Miss Pat goes, Whitney, get Craig and Austen back to the table. We need to do the flambe. And Craig goes, I'm drunk. And Miss Pat goes, I'm shit faced. They flambe in front of them and this lemon sauce thing. You know, it's all chef like. It looks beautiful. They're using Grand Marnier. It won't light, so they have to use more. And I don't know. They fight about macaroons and macarons. He's like, it's a dumb joke, but they're like, Macron is the president of France. Anyways, they finally get the flambe going. Whitney does a toast with Grand Marnier in French, and it's just like, stop being a dork. Miss Pat goes, Whitney doesn't know what he's talking about. And then Craig goes, Austen and I are going to go talk to Shep on the piazza real quick, which, by the way, I think that's one of the manliest sentences ever. We're going to go talk to Shep on the piazza. We're going to go have a manly talk in the piazza. And so Craig goes, so whatever, I'll tell you. Someone just posted your Raya profile on a gossip site and your location on Raya, where it was the last time you registered. So it's getting blasted all over the internet that you were in Bermuda and you're a bad guy. I need to tell you this before Taylor yells at you. And Shep goes, yeah, 2 years ago, we were in a bad place. You know, I wasn't single, but we were in turmoil. I was in turmoil with my girlfriend and I needed some time to figure out. And so I went to Bermuda the very next day. And Craig's like, and she knew? And he's like, yeah. She said, I hope you find what you're looking for, which he was obviously looking for, a vagina. And Craig's like, why did she feel that way? And we cut back to the reunion. And I guess this fight happened after the reunion. And Craig goes, I would break up with you, you know? And Craig goes, so you weren't in trouble for stepping out? So you stepped out more? Craig says, you got to go to your Raya settings and hide your profile. And Shep goes, I'm not going to do that. And Craig goes, people think they have a chance with you, dude. Delete your profile. And Shep's like, yeah, I'll work on that some more. Okay. And Craig goes, okay, Suave. In a talking head, he goes, he's on a long road with this, but it truly doesn't sound like he cares, but I've done my job as a friend. And Craig goes, if you're cheating on her, and Shep goes, I'm not. And then he goes, here's your profile. And then Shep goes, nothing even happened. It turns out nobody's in Bermuda. And Austen says, I can only have your back so much. Taylor is like a little sister to me. He says this in a talking head, not to his face. And Shep says, I don't know what just happened, but my conscience is clean, you guys. And that's the end of this episode. I do want to say this. One of my friends today sent me Shep's current Raya profile. I'll probably be posting it on my Instagram tomorrow. And he has put his location as Bermuda and as where he lives, Bermuda. And I think that's a joke because of this week, but it is currently active. So all you ladies out there on Raya, you got Shep. He's out there. Fine. I feel like Tommy Lee Jones in The Fugitive. Your fugitive's name is Shep. Shep Rose. Go get him. You guys, next week looks like another intense episode. Paige won't come down for a party with Shep. More fighting, the likes. This was another supersized episode. I hope you guys dug it. I hope you got some laughs. I hope we had a good time. We talked the Emmys, we talked Nicki Minaj, we talked to my mom, and we did a whole Southern Charm recap. My God, can it get any better? Yeah, I think it can. Wednesday, we're going to have a great guest, and we have a great week of shows. Thank you so much for your support as always. And thank you, anybody watching this on YouTube as well. If there's anything that you'd like me to do, any way you can even help me, please reach out. I love you guys. I'll talk to you on Wednesday. Bye.